friends, it's Callista with Learn Knitting Now. I am doing a little series on color work in knitting and the different types, and I'm happy to have you along. Today I'm going to share about stranded color work or fair isle knitting. The terms are used interchangeably, it means the same thing. I have a recent project here that I did using stranded color work to give you a little look at what it looks like as I explain what it is. As you can see, some of the rows have more than one color. There's some of this darker and some of this lighter brown in this same row, so we're not just making stripes. How we do that is I would knit, let's say in this dark brown, I would knit a couple of stitches in the dark brown, and then it's time for the light brown. I am pulling the light brown around on the back of the work, and then start knitting with the light brown until I get back to where the pattern would say to start the dark brown, and then I pull the dark brown around the back of the work so that I can do more than one color in one round. There are a lot of patterns that have more than two colors in one round. I personally avoid those because I think I did one time. I may have done two, but it is incredibly difficult to keep the yarn from getting tangled. It's just really fiddly to work with. The pieces can be incredible and beautiful, but it's just a little too much for me personally because I like to knit for relaxation and not for frustration. And so that's why I usually pick patterns that only have two colors in any row. I've done several that have more than two colors total, but in any given row, I personally choose patterns that only have two colors. So we're going to have a look at the inside so you can get a better idea of what I mean when I say I'm carrying the yarn that I'm not using for that particular stitch along the back of the work. So this is the inside, or the wrong side, and you can see here that there's pieces of yarn that are along the back, little hole here, or loop. Those are called floats. And so the yarn that wasn't being used, so in this particular row, there were probably 4 or 5 stitches that were the dark brown before I needed the light again. And so the light was just kind of pulled around the back as I needed it again. Because of the kind of pulling the yarn around the back as it goes along, it does sometimes mess with the gauge or the tension for how tight your stitches are. And so what's recommended often is to go up a needle size when you're doing a color work section, and that's usually what I do. And so so that I have a nice even tension between, say, this section down here where there's no color work and this section up here where there is color work. And so I do go up a needle size. So that is stranded color work. You're only ever working with one color at a time on any given stitch, but going across the row, you'll use multiple. Stay tuned for the videos on intarsia, which I have never done personally, so I'll be learning right along with you about what that is. And then duplicate stitch, which I have done before for some different things and is fun.